So one of the misconceptions that vegans commonly have, and I had this too, when I was on a vegan diet, I had the same belief as well. And it's very common in the vegan community. And that is, it's the belief that you're getting enough protein from vegetables. And, you know, whenever like a meat eater would come along and ask you, because it's like as a vegan, and I know this because I've been on both sides, you know, it was frustrating because you'd have to try and convince the meat eater that you're getting enough protein. And one of the things that I used to say was, oh, like, of course I'm getting enough broccoli, I'm getting enough Brussels sprouts, I'm getting enough beans. And so I was on the defense, whereas, meat eaters seem to be attacking my dietary choice. And the truth is, the real honest truth is, and I didn't realize this at the time because I didn't do my research enough when I transitioned into becoming a vegan, and that is, I wasn't getting enough protein. And the truth is, in practical terms, most vegans are not getting enough protein, especially if you're predominantly eating vegetables, because, you know, you can't look at broccoli and Brussels sprouts as being a protein source. They do contain protein. Of course they contain protein. However, the amount of broccoli and Brussels sprouts and beans and peas and other vegetables that contain high amounts of protein that you need to eat to meet your protein requirements for the day is absurd. And let's get practical, because I'm a very practical guy. You're not going to get enough protein from eating only Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and so forth. I mean, you can do it if you're committed to eating buckets of that stuff every day. But here's the reality, and I'm going to flash this up on your screen. Because, you know, vegetables, as I mentioned, it's not a good source of protein. Generally speaking, vegetables are not a good source of protein. Carbs and micronutrients, yes, they're a great source for that, but not for protein. You'll need about 3 cups of green beans to get about 24 grams of protein. Like 3 cups to get what a meat eater could get in 1 scoop of whey protein. 1 scoop of whey protein for a meat eater, for someone who's omnivorous, it's an animal-based product, diet, that 1 scoop of whey protein is equivalent to 3 or 4 cups of green beans, 24 grams of protein thereabouts. 4 cups of spinach will get you about the same, get you about 25 grams. You know, that's a lot. And we're talking just 25 grams of protein. You know, I've talked about the protein requirements needed if you're lifting weights on a regular basis. You know, close to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. So if you're a guy watching this, about 180 grams of, you know, between 160, 190 grams of protein that you'll need every day. How many cups of broccoli and Brussels sprouts? And you know what I mean? You get the picture. How much of that stuff do you need? We're talking bucket loads. And so, you know, if you're working a full-time job, you have families, I mean, gosh, how much, like, that's just, it's impractical in my opinion. And I'm not saying not to eat vegetables. Of course, you need vegetables, like you need the micronutrients that they contain, but you can't have that misconception that you're going to get all of your protein from vegetables, because you just won't. I mean, you can if you plan it correctly, but most vegans haven't planned where they get their protein from. They're just kind of hoping that they're going to get enough protein by eating vegetables. And in reality, you're not. Like, most vegans are not. That's the truth. So before we move on, I just want you to be clear on that, because I had this misconception. Like, I totally had it, you know. And so I lost a lot of weight as a vegan. I lost a lot of muscle as well. Like, I lost a lot of muscle mass. This is what happens. A lot of vegans, you know, they don't execute veganism correctly. Like, they go from eating animal-based food, animal-based products, to going plant-based, and they don't execute that correctly. And so one of the first things that happens is that they all of a sudden, they don't get enough protein, because it's a lot easier to get protein as a meat eater. Because, as I mentioned, meat, you know, food that is animal-based naturally contains high levels of protein, per serving and high levels of amino acids. The amino acid profile of food based from animals is much higher than plant-based. So I hope this is clear. I'm going to move on. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to me, but I hope that's clear. Brad at seekfitlife.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.